So this is my brushless powered rocket ship. I've had the idea to build one of these for a while, and then more recently I've seen other YouTubers build similar things, like Tom Stanton built a SpaceX Falcon 9 model rocket and some other ones. But anyways, this is what I came up with. It's powered by one little race quad motor in there, and it has 4 thrust vectoring servo controlled vanes right underneath the motor. And then up at the top it has 4 little tiny brushless motors to act as the top thrusters, or I guess on the Falcon 9, this isn't necessarily modeled after the Falcon 9, but the Falcon 9 has grid fins to kind of control the attitude of the top, and instead of fins I have little motors. I didn't think grid fins would work because this will be going too slow and they won't have any control authority in a hover. And I want this to be able to hover really well. But as it turns out, it actually hovers really well with only the thrust vectoring fins on the bottom. Grid fins might actually not be too bad of an idea after all. I might have to explore that on my next build, but for now I'm going to try this out. A lot of the frame and motor mount components are 3D printed out of ABS and CNC routed out of carbon fiber. The body tube is just made out of foam board. I cut a lot of holes out of the bottom here. You'll see why in a little while. And then I've got a bunch of holes around the top area here to allow the thrust to come out from the little thruster motors. Then I've got a 3D printed nose cone that looks really bad because my 3D printer is kind of jacked up right now. But the bottom motor and servos and the top little thruster unit are actually both completely separate systems. Each one has its own receiver and flight controller, and the receivers are just both bound to the same model on my Spectrum transmitter. So they can actually completely work independently if you plug a different battery into each one. The bottom one is running a flying wing flight controller that I'm using iNav to configure, and the top one is using a little other flight controller that I can't think of the name of, and I'm using Betaflight to configure that one. The thruster motors are basically just a quadcopter that has the motors tilted up at a 45-degree angle, and that is so it can still push the nose around and change the attitude of the aircraft, but then the motors are tilted down enough as to where it'll still produce a little bit of thrust and have some yaw control. It's running a 4-cell battery for the lower motor and a 3-cell battery for the thruster motors. The initial idea with this project was to build a brushless rocket that could take off vertically and go really high and then kind of pancake down back to Earth, fall slightly forward, and then land vertically. So the real test will be to see if this thing will actually do that. I also just kind of want to take it up really high and cut all the motors and then see how it free falls and behaves aerodynamically. The center of gravity is about right in the middle, so I think that's going to be optimal for kind of falling flat, like pancaking down, and then hopefully gaining enough control to land right after that. For descending vertically, it's definitely better to have a lower center of gravity, and then for going straight up, it's better to have a higher center of gravity. So there's really no best option here for either one, but I guess I'm just going to kind of go with whatever helps me regain control coming out of a fall more easily, because that's the critical moment here. So enough talk, let's go try this out. Quickly though, let's go back in time and take a look at the build process and the initial tests. battery's about to explode. This is with my control input going through the thrust vectoring vanes. You can see how the tail kind of gets pushed around to control it. And this is with my control input only going through the top thruster motors. You can see how the nose kind of leads instead of the tail. So this will be the first flight outdoors. Got a little Mobius camera up on the nose and a GoPro Session right there in the middle. So I'm just gonna go straight up and then straight down and see how it performs. In the warehouse, when it's descending, it's really smooth. A lot of multi-rotors have an issue when they're descending. They kind of go through their turbulent prop wash and it makes them really unstable. And this doesn't seem to have that problem. And I think it's because the air that's coming off of the single propeller is going so much faster and it's just like so condensed that it just plows right through its turbulent prop wash and just descends down smoothly. So that's kind of cool. It's really smooth in the warehouse, but I'm not sure how it'll do descending quicker outdoors. So I'm going to test that out. The sun just came out. Let's see how this thing does. I was kind of testing the maneuverability right there and I got a little too carried away and hit the curb. I'll try and fly it again though. On that flight, I took it up pretty high and then cut the throttle way down and started to descend really quickly. And at first it seemed like the auto level was doing a pretty good job at keeping it upright, but then as I got closer towards the ground, it just kind of started to tip over more and more, and I wasn't able to straighten out before it hit the ground. That was probably mostly my bad because I didn't start throttling up again until it was too late. I think it should still work, so I'll try it out right now. So now you've seen everything up until this point. I have not flown it with any of this stuff on it, any of the body. I'm gonna do a quick hover test here in the warehouse and then take it outside and blast off, go really high and then kind of let it fall and see what happens. It's really become clear to me after flying this without the body and with the body and the nose cone that they reduce the efficiency by a lot. Like, I have plenty of room for air to get in, and that's what all of these holes are for down here, but still, it's just so bad. And it kind of like suctions down to the ground too, which it never did without the body. So if I ever build a version of this that's meant for like purely performance, then I'm definitely not going to have the body on it. So here we are at the test field. I'm just going to blast off, go straight up, and then go from auto level mode into acro mode or normal rate mode, and then kind of give it some control input, tip it over a little bit, and see if it kind of falls down flat and if it'll kind of hold that attitude on the way down. And then obviously as I get lower, put it back into auto level mode and try and pull out of it and then land vertically. The wind is picking up a bit. It's not great. So that went really well, other than the landing at the end there where it tipped over. I think it's just so susceptible to any little bit of breeze that it was just kind of like moving along. I didn't even have to give it any control input. Once I got up, it just kind of automatically tipped over and started to tumble, which is kind of what I expected. I've got some more battery, so I'm gonna try and go up a little bit higher and do it again. Comparing this flight to the last flight without the nose cone in the top part of the shroud, it became really obvious during this flight that the nose cone and the top shroud or body area decrease efficiency a whole lot, because I was full throttle and it wasn't even going that fast, and a few flights ago without all this stuff it was going much more quickly. Definitely need to rethink the whole body design. Falling. That was fantastic. It did almost exactly what I initially wanted to do with this project, which was just kind of like fall down, or kind of pancaking as I call it. And it did that. It takes a while to kind of like tumble a little bit and stabilize itself, but it did it. And I don't think it was stabilized by the control system at all. I think it was just aerodynamically falling out of the sky, and it came down nicely, and then I throttled up and it popped right back up and leveled itself out, and I was able to control it. I just lost orientation because it was far away because the wind blew it down range. So got more batteries, so I'll try it again. It doesn't have any power. No! Oh, ass. So that's just what happens when you cheap out and use old batteries. I had some older packs in there that I guess just couldn't put out enough power. I was at full throttle and it was just falling out of the sky. It looks like that whole portion is actually salvageable. Won't be too hard to fix. What a bummer. But I'm really glad that the previous flight to this one went well. The top section looks fine. You know, I'm really not too sold on these little thruster motors. I don't think they're entirely necessary. Maybe they help kind of reorient it after it's pancaking down, but all in all, I think these thrust vectoring vanes down here are really what control it. I think I might build another one of these with only this part and see how it works. It's not the first time I've built a single motor vertical takeoff vehicle either. Back in like, I don't even know what year, a really long time ago, I built a little thing that would hover around my yard just with little helicopter rate gyros.
So here's my vertical takeoff in the yard. Right now it's on a 3-cell battery.
And it worked decently well. Not nearly as well as this thing did though when it was hovering around the warehouse. So I'm gonna try it again. So the main takeaways from this version are A, don't use crappy batteries. Obviously that's why it crashed. And then B, the whole shroud idea is definitely cool because it'll fall out of the sky in a controlled way. By shroud I mean just body foam tubes. It'll fall out of the sky and just kind of pancake down nicely, but it's extremely inefficient to have your motors in a tube like this. But anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and subscribe and stay tuned for the next one. Adios.